do you see the Chargers having a chance to really prosper?
Well, when you go down to the Superdome, it's a tough place to play. And you look at this Saints team, and I hate to say it, but they are the best 0-4 team in NFL history. You've always heard that.
Right.
Drew Brees, because number one, it starts right there. Here's a guy who has been a player of the year in the National Football League, Super Bowl MVP, has resurrected that city. Those guys are always going to be the focal point when teams are trying to catch up. So
when the decision was made to let Drew go and go with Philip Rivers,
they made Drew an offer. It wasn't the offer that Drew was looking for, and it was kind of a polite offer. It was kind of like, you know, asking your sister, hey, if I don't get a date to the prom, will you go with me?
Where do you see the Saints hurting the most without their head coach out there?
I think the toughest thing about not having a head coach is not having someone to push the buttons of the players. Motivating that backup defensive tackle or that guy who plays on special teams, giving him the stare during the week at practice because he didn't do what he was.
So who wins the game on Sunday night?
I think it's always tough to go on the road and play. The Chargers played exceptionally well last week against Kansas City. All the turnovers in the first half. If the Saints protect the football, and if you watch them play, they're only minus 20 in total points in the 4 losses. So they've been in every ball game. At some point, you would expect them to win a game, and unfortunately for the Chargers, it might be this Sunday night.
His former Chargers assistant coach and NFL Hall of Fame receiver James Lofton. I sat down with him earlier, and he talked about how he would motivate the Chargers.
If I'm on the Chargers coaching staff, what I do with the Chargers, I let them watch the first half of the game against the Broncos. You know, they did everything right.
Yeah.
You have a couple scores offensively. You have the big interception return by Quentin Jammer. So there were a lot of positives. And it's been that way for the Chargers in a lot of their losses this year. They've had a lot of positive plays and a few plays where they stubbed their toe.
Obviously, Peyton Manning has made a big difference. He leads the NFL in passer rating. And as usual, he makes everyone around him better, including Demaryius Thomas.
Well, Demaryius Thomas is a guy who was drafted #1 out of Georgia Tech, where they ran the wishbone. So you didn't know what you had in him. And his first year, he only starts 2 games. The second year, 5 games. So Bronco fans are going, hey, what do we have here in this guy?
Looking forward, this team, I mean, everyone's talking about the final countdown for A.J. Smith, Norv Turner. To get to this point, let's go look back maybe for the past 4 years, the past 4 drafts, and see what went wrong, how we got here.
Well, I think when you look back at the draft, you have to say, are these players impactful players? Are they on the field? Because you look at those first 4 rounds in the draft, and you think, these guys need to become starters. And if you miss on guys, boy, you end up really regretting it. And I think the linebacker position, not that they were always trying to replace Sean Merriman, but not being able to replace Sean Merriman and Larry English, Jonas Mooten, not really being able to come through in those positions really hurts the draft. And then I think in today's football, where you throw the ball so much, what value is your running back? And unless he's a real impactful player, and if you've moved up to draft him and you've missed some other picks behind him, I think that can cripple you too. And Ryan Matthews, I think, is very, very talented.